Hello and welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint Show. I am your host, Jay Jones. Black Entrepreneur Blueprint was created specifically to educate and inspire Black entrepreneurs to launch, build, and grow successful businesses. Join us as we help build an economic power base in the Black community by promoting business ownership. If you are currently an entrepreneur or want to be an entrepreneur, we invite you to join us every week here at Black Entrepreneur Blueprint.
Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, episode number 250. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and today we have another outstanding and educational show in store for you. Today, family, we're going to get a little deep, and we're going to be talking seriously about something that we really need to focus on. And today's show topic is, do you really understand the importance of Black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? Do you really understand the importance of Black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? But before we get to today's episode, I just want to share a few things with the BEB family. First and foremost, I want to welcome any new listeners to Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the podcast, and also the blog. Welcome to the BEB family. And please stay around until the end of today's episode. I'm going to give you all of my social media contacts, and please connect with me via social media. Next, if you're interested in creating passive income, please check out my new book, A New Black Wall Street, Circulating the Black Dollar Worldwide by Building Successful E-Commerce Businesses. You can go to anewblackwallstreet.com. Pick yourself up a copy. It's $14.95 plus shipping and handling. Now, if you need additional assistance building your successful, sustainable e-commerce business, please go to educatedecommerce.com. I've created a compatible online course that will hold your hand from point A to point Z to help you build your successful, sustainable e-commerce business. So you can enroll in educatedecommerce.com. Just go to that site and check it out. Also, any of you product producers, Black product producers that want to connect with Black consumers worldwide, please check out my platform, besmartbyblack.com. besmartbyblack.com. This is a platform where any Black product producers can upload their products and connect with Black consumers worldwide. That's what we're talking about, guys, circulating the Black dollar in the worldwide Black economy. Now, all you freelancers, anybody that does anything on Fiverr.com or Freelancer.com, I've created a similar platform titled HireBlackFreelancers.com, HIRE, BlackFreelancers.com. Once again, it's free to put your information up, and you can connect with Black consumers and Black businesses that are looking to hire freelancers. Once again, family, it's all about circulating the dollar in our community. That's really what it is. And today, we're going to really start and get down and dirty. And do you really understand the importance of Black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? You know, sometimes I think we take entrepreneurship a little bit lightly. I know it's like popular right now to be an entrepreneur, and you got shows like Shark Tank and all these other shows. But if you really dig down, it's very imperative for us, Black entrepreneurs, to get out there, start businesses, and not just start businesses, but get the support from our community. Because Black entrepreneurship is actually the engine that we need for self-sufficiency and independence. Black entrepreneurship is the engine for self-sufficiency and independence. We got to stop playing around and understand what's at stake. Understand what's at stake, family. They're coming to get us from all angles and all sides. You know, political side, the policies, you know, the prison industrial complex, the rogue police officers and law enforcement out there, they're coming to get us. And so anybody that's in control, which is white supremacy, which is in control pretty much obviously in North America, but throughout the world. And when you challenge that, there's going to be pushback. But the only way to challenge that is if you have your own. If you can compete, if you're not going to somebody that's suppressing you and asking them for money, all right? It doesn't work like that. That's why Black entrepreneurship is so important. And today we're going to talk about why we must do this, And I always talk about a 3-pronged attack, but I'm actually going to add an extra layer on that today. I always talk about an economic power base, politics, media, but I'm also going to add education in there for today's talk. So, number one, we need to create an economic power base. That's what Black Entrepreneur Blueprint is all about. I say it in the intro, creating an economic power base for the Black community worldwide. And there's several reasons or several things that we need to discuss under creating an economic power base. Number one is building your own business. All right. Now, a lot of us that listen to the show may work in corporate America. They may have a side business, or you may do looking to transition full time. And I commend you. So if you're not at the place you need to be yet, that's fine, because we all have to start somewhere. I was in and out of corporate several times before I finally got it right. But the fact remains is, family, we need to build our own businesses. We have to build our own businesses. And in order to do that, guys, we have to support our own businesses. That's why I've created those 2 platforms, Hire Black Freelancers and BeSmartByBlack.com, so we can support our own businesses. And for the life of me, I don't understand why. I got a DM from somebody the other day, and nobody's supporting our own businesses. I put out a meme on Instagram the other day. This is the face of what somebody looks like when you ask them how many Black businesses have they supported in the last month. And it was a quizzical face, basically somebody like scratching their head, because the answer normally is not that many. And so there's no way to build an economic power base if we don't build and support our own businesses. And the economic power base is what's going to control the politics, the media, and the education. That is the key. And the only way to build that is to create our own businesses and support our own businesses. So please, guys, support your own businesses. The internet is here, so you don't have to be able to find a physical Black business in your location. You can find one and order something online. So you got Be Smart by Black. You got other platforms like that. You got Hire Black Freelancers. So you can use those platforms. That's what I put them up there for. So we can start to support and create our own businesses. Another thing that creating an economic power base does, it gives you independence. So you can do and say what you want and be unencumbered. Why do you think a lot of people that are getting money from, like, be it NFL, NBA stars or whatever, movie stars, they don't say anything a lot of times because they know that they're not independent. They have to get money from a studio, from a team owner, from a league or whatever. And that's why their mouth is shut. Michael Jordan, he finally started saying something now, but years ago, he was so apolitical, it was ridiculous. He wouldn't say anything because he didn't want to jack up his endorsements. And so when you're bound or tied to somebody else, then you lose that independence. It's funny. I don't know what's going on today, but I just got two companies reached out to me today and wanted to be sponsors of my podcast. And I politely emailed them back and said, I don't take sponsorships. Now, I may eventually, but it'll only be from Black-owned businesses. But right now, I don't take sponsorships for my podcast because I want to be able to do and say what I want. That's called independence. Okay, now, and like I said, element number one, and we're talking about, do you really understand the importance of Black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? And it's a 4-pronged attack. I normally go 3-pronged, economic power base, economics, politics, media, but I'm going to add education in. So right now I'm talking about economics. So building our own businesses, supporting our own businesses, creating independence by doing that. But if we don't support our own businesses, we're not going to be able to create that independence. Okay. Another economic portion of the power base is self-fund our own projects and initiatives. We're always looking around for somebody else to fund a project or an initiative. And the reason being is we don't have the power base, the economic power base. I mean, it's ridiculous. Just like the NAACP was started by a Jewish person. It doesn't even make any sense. We're always taking money from other people that don't necessarily have our best interest at heart. And I'm not going to paint everybody with a broad brush, because I shouldn't be painted, or we shouldn't be painted with a broad brush. But how about ownership? Self-funding our own projects and initiatives, like incubators, schools, things of that nature. We're always using somebody else's or taking money from somebody else's. And another factor under economics is creating more black lending institutions or lending platforms. Once again, you go into these banks, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. Yeah, they have minority quote unquote initiatives, but how about going to our own banks? How about banking with our own banks who have a vested interest in our community? And unfortunately, they're very hard to find. So black banks are dropping off like crazy, because it's the same thing about not supporting black owned businesses. We're not supporting black owned banks. So if we don't support them, they don't have the deposits to lend out. They don't have the operating capital to continue to run. We got a black bank here in Philly, United Bank. Started probably 25 or so years ago. Got a whole lot of traction at first. But after that, and I'll be honest, I still bank there. But customer service wasn't good when it started, but that's okay. You got growing pains. Still kept my money there. Still got accounts over there. But the problem is other people don't necessarily think like me and understand that it's not all about me. It's about the institution. The institution is trying to lend and develop in our communities because it has a vested interest in our community, because the president and everybody in the bank, it's a black owned bank. So we need to help create more black lending institutions and lending platforms. So that's piece number one, economic piece. Piece number two, politics. And before I get into that, I just want to refresh. Do you really understand the importance of black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? So economics is number one, and economics is the keystone, family. Economics controls everything. So number two is politics. Okay. If you don't know it, you're going to know now. Economics controls politics. It's a pay for play game. It's unfortunate, but it's a pay for play game. All right. So when a political action committee is paying, or donating or working for specific candidates, they know if those candidates get in office, they're going to try to create policy that's favorable for those candidates. It's a pay for play game. We know that, but now we need to start getting into the game. So economics controls politics. Now, politics control policy. Let me repeat that. Politics control policy. Okay? There can be good policies for black folk, and there can be bad policies for black folks, like the criminal justice system. All of these type of laws that are written basically to put us in jail. All right. Crack cocaine gets a higher sentence than the standard cocaine that white people normally snort. You've seen that. And it's filled our prisons up. So when people talk about, I'm not going to vote, and I understand because it seems fruitless sometimes, but I'm going to tell y'all, that doesn't make a damn bit of sense to me. I'm straight up on that. Because what you have to understand is nothing happens overnight. And number two, it's not just the federal election. Okay, it's not just voting for president. What's really going to affect you is your local and state elections. So if you don't think changing your local and state elections is going to make a difference, then you got, I don't know what, I'm going to sell you the Brooklyn Bridge or something. Okay. Because your local taxes are determined by your local elections. Your school board is determined by local elections. Okay. You have zoning. Anybody heard of gentrification? All over Philly. That's all politics. The people that they put in office a lot of times are down with these developers to help get your black ass out wherever they want to be and put you somewhere else. That's politics. So when you start talking about, oh, it doesn't make a difference if we vote, that's exactly what they want you to do. Apathy, ignorance as in not knowing. I understand from a federal level, you vote for a president, you may not see any trickle down, but I'll be damned. If you don't vote for your local and your state elections, something's wrong with you. Now, I might get some pushback on that, but I don't care. Because I'm telling you what I know, not what I think. I'm telling you what I know. So when your grandmom gets pushed out of her neighborhood because all these politicians that are in the pockets of these developers want to go and develop, and your grandmom can't pay for her taxes now because the tax base went up, and she's sitting there wondering what she's going to do. She's been in this house for 40 years. Now she got to find somewhere else to move. That's politics and that's policy. So you better understand and you better recognize what the vote means. So you got to get out there and vote. We're talking about phase number 2, politics. Number 1 was economics. Number 2 is politics. And today's show topic, family, is, do you really understand the importance of black entrepreneurship as it pertains to the future? It's a war going on out there. And I know a lot of times we're so hyper focused on just us. What are we going to do? How am I going to make it? But you got to understand it's a global war going on. And entrepreneurship is going to build the economic power base that's going to allow us to prosper and move forward. So number 1, economics. Number 2, politics. Number 3 is media. And once again, family, economics controls media. Economics is the keystone to everything. Economics controls media. So you see ad revenues. I just looked at an article today that Comcast, which is, big, NBC Universal, Comcast, whatever, they lost 122,000 cable customers for the quarter, but they grew their internet customer base over 270,000 customers. But economics controls media, sponsorships and boycotts. Okay. So when somebody says something that's off the rails, what do companies do? They pull back their sponsorship. Bill O'Reilly, that's why he's not on Fox anymore. Shut that thing down. So you got to remember, economics controls the media. And here's several things that we need to focus on about the media. Number 1, with an economic power base, we can buy existing media platforms like radio, television, streaming services. Okay, we need to be a part of the media. We're losing all of our major media outlets. So if you look at television stations owned by black companies, good luck, because I think there's only about maybe 15 or 20 in the United States. I don't know about anywhere else. Okay. So we need to have those economics to buy existing media platforms. Why are we always so happy to be on somebody else's platform? You know why? Because we're accustomed to that. And that's something that we got to stop being accustomed to. All right. Another thing about media. Okay. In addition to buying existing media, create new media platforms focused from our point of view. I read an article a couple months ago, and the title was, "Are Black Newspapers Needed? Or is Black Media Needed?" And the answer is hell yeah. We have a voice. We have a perspective. And we don't need black media, all of it to be like media takeout. All right. That's fine and dandy and all of that stuff. But this is serious business. Okay. Because once again, media and propaganda, you look at Fox News. I don't even know why they call it news. It should be Fox propaganda. but that influences people that watch that. So media is important, and we need to start being able to create new media platforms. Excuse me. All right. Another thing about media, when we control it, we can control our own images and narratives. So when you turn on the news, and it's funny, my wife and I talk about this all the time. In Philly, if there's a robbery, burglary, murder, killing, if it's a black person, you always are going to see that. But if it's a white person or any other ethnicity doing it, you normally don't see their pictures. Okay. This has been going on since we got over here in the States 400, 500 years ago. The whole propaganda, be it newspapers back then, was that they were going to make black people less than human. So when they continued to mistreat us worse than animals, that people would just be, oh, okay, they're ignorant, they're aggressive, they're lazy, they like fried chicken and watermelon, or whatever the propaganda is. So controlling media controls minds. So we need to control our own image and narrative. Also, and I'm going to get back to this too, supporting our own black-owned media outlets. Okay? So that article that I was talking about, do we need black media outlets? Yeah, we do. All right? Now, BET obviously got sold to Viacom. And I'll be quite honest with you. I understood why Bob Johnson put videos on because it was cheap programming. But pretty much for the life of BET, I always talk about selling life or selling death. To me, basically, you got butt shaking videos. You got all of this nonsense. And yeah, there's a place for that. But we got enough of that. All right. So we need to be able to control our own image and narrative and not get depicted by somebody else that really doesn't care about us. And they're going to depict us in the image that is best suited for them. And how many brothers out here have gotten on an elevator? You regular dude, get on an elevator and some old white lady clutches her pocketbook. How many brothers go into a high-end department store? That's another story, spending our money at all these other folks. High-end department store, and you get followed around. And they think you don't know you getting followed. That's all based on media. That's what's been poured into their heads. So we got to start controlling that. And we got to start supporting our black-owned media. And once again, guys, you look at the news in any city, and all you see is death, crime, poverty, whatever. Those are the leading stories because, once again, it's all about, getting those views, those eyeballs. So we got to start showing life and not death. So one of the things, a conversation I had with a guy I used to work with years ago when I was a financial advisor, he was telling me that he said, I wouldn't be happy, he was a white guy, if my daughter brought home a black guy. And, and I know a lot of us feel the same way. We want to stay in our race. And I asked him, I said, well, why is that? Well, there's a lot of crime and this, that, and the other thing. And I was trying to explain to him, I said, where are you getting this from? And he said, oh, well, the news. I said, have you ever read any magazines like Ebony or Jet or even the Philadelphia Tribune, which is a black-owned or the oldest black-owned newspaper in the United States? And you don't see just negative. You see black folk doing positive things. Life, not death. And so everything that comes out of our mouth is either we're selling life or we're selling death. So these other media outlets, when it comes to us, for the most part, are selling death. We need to be able to sell life. We need to be able to focus on the young brother and sister who got accepted into all Ivy League schools. The young guy that saved the old lady from getting robbed, whatever. We don't control anything. And the problem is, family, it's almost like we don't give a damn. We're so accustomed to it. Now, I think you can be accustomed to all types of things. You can be accustomed to good things and you can be accustomed to bad things. And if you stay in a state where you just are accustomed to bad things, that becomes your norm. It's not the norm. There's no reason that we need to have this many brothers and sisters in the penal institution. It's rigged. Okay. And a lot of that, once again, you see all these people calling, when they see black folk doing something, that's all coming from the media. So we have to control that. Today's show topic, family. Do you really understand the importance of black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? I normally talk about a 3-pronged attack, but I added a 4th. So number 1 was economics. Number 2 was politics. And number 3 I just went through was media. Number 4, education. Once again, family, economics controls education. If you live in a nice area with a nice tax base, the chances of your kid's school being a good school is probably better if you lived in a depressed area. Higher tax base, more money, newer facilities, can pay teachers better. Ba-ba. Education. Economics controls education. All right. And that's key. Now, economics can also allow us to create our own educational institutions, be it a charter school runs by the state, be it a private school. It's funny, a lot of areas, these private schools pop up because these families don't want their kids going to school with black folks. So you know what? Oh, let's go ahead and start this private school and we're going to separate over here. We can do the same thing. Okay. Create our own educational institutions and teach what we need. Teach what we need to teach. Now, I always talk about this. Any parents out there, please listen to me closely on this. So if you're waiting for your children's school to give them everything you need, that they need, you're going to be sadly mistaken. So if you talk about, you know what the history books show. They only talk about Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, and probably Barack Obama. Now, I'm not in school, obviously. So they talk about the major black figures. So if your kid comes home and they don't know anything about black history, guess whose fault that is? That's your fault. Don't depend on the school system to teach your children everything they need to know. You need to be teaching them black history. You need to go get some books that they can read, tell them stories, and talk about black history. The people that aren't as well known as all of these, the standard people I just mentioned. There's so much greatness in us. And one of the problems is our kids don't know it because we're waiting for somebody else to teach it to them. That's your job. That's your job. Turn off the TV for 45 minutes in an hour. And if your kids are real little, read to them about some of the heroes, black heroes throughout history. Mansa Musa, all of the people that they should know about. Okay, so stop letting the schools totally educate your children. That's your job as a parent. So it doesn't matter what's lacking at the school. If you see something that's lacking, that's where you need to pick up. And I get it, family. I know it's tough. You're working. You may be a single parent, but that's your responsibility. Don't put that totally on the school. So this is education. Economics controls education. Create our own educational institutions to teach what we need. Not what they need, what we need to prepare our children for a bright future. So good schools that focus and understand on what we need. Okay. You see it all the time. We get our kids, they're diagnosed ADD, ADHD, all kinds of stuff. And a lot of times it's not necessarily the correct diagnosis. They just may need more time spent with them, especially little boys. They're active, they're running around. And if they don't have that discipline, then that could show up. And in school, they can put them on the track that now they're in, special classes when they really shouldn't be in special classes. So if your kid can sit down for 5 hours and play a video game without moving, you think he got ADHD? No, this is something that he enjoys or she enjoys doing. So if you can do that, maybe school or the way they're teaching or what they're teaching isn't engaging that child. But I'm telling you, if you can sit down for 3, even 2 hours straight and play a video game and not move, then do you really have ADHD? You got to think about that. And also when it comes to the educational system, it's not just the kids and the adults. There's another faction out there that we really need to focus on. And, we need to prepare our brothers and sisters coming out of the prison industrial complex to start businesses, to be able to be self-sufficient, because they're already behind the 8 ball. And the recidivism is crazy because a lot of us can't get jobs. Who's going to hire us? And once again, we're looking outside when we need to look inside. So one of these shows, and I've talked to a couple of brothers that are BEB family members that are looking to do something, start a business, because they can't find jobs. So these are the type educational components that we can put in once we control it. Once again, guys, we're always waiting for the city. The city is going to put in this program. And guess what happens when the city runs out of money for that program? Or if a politician, since a lot of us don't believe in voting, if a politician says, you know what, we're cutting that from the budget. So now those people that depended upon the city or somebody else to get them from point A to point B, they ass out. Once again, economics controls everything. So if you have the economic power base, family, you can institute and implement programs, whatever it is, that are going to help us move forward. So you have so many of our brothers and sisters coming out of prison, not being able to find jobs. And then what does that lead to? Going back into jail because, you know what? I got to do something for my family. Now I got to go back and hustle again or whatever I was doing. I got to go rob somebody, jacking cars, whatever you're doing. That's because there's no opportunities. There's no options out there. And we keep waiting on somebody else to throw these options out there. That's a handout. We got to start doing it on our own, family. And the bottom line is economics. So I'm asking each and every one of you that this comes across your eardrums. Start black businesses. And my God, support black businesses. It's an economic power base that's going to, man, hold on. It's going to, I'm so hyped up right now. This economic power base is what we need to stay relevant. Do you really understand the importance of black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? That's today's show title. And I'm getting amped up because I see a lot of people over here not taking this seriously. And we're in a war. If you don't know who's in the White House right now, we're in a war. Not just here in the States, because this gets listened to in all the hundreds of countries. It's a global war. It's a global war. I actually, what is it called? The slave codes. And if you read any of Dr. Claude Anderson's stuff, I mean, this isn't something that, is made up. There's a systematic organization, not a physical organization, but there's a systematic plan to suppress, depress, step on, kick, whatever, and keep us in a specific position. And I said earlier, when you're the top of the food chain, if somebody is going to challenge that authority, what happens? They're going to fight back. They're going to push back. So the more that we try to move forward, the more resistance we're going to get. But as soon as you recognize and understand that, then I hope you will start putting into action some of the things I talked about. And the biggest things are starting black businesses, and supporting black businesses. This is not a game. This isn't a game, family. This is serious business. when I put that meme out, like how many people have, how many black businesses have you shopped at in the last month? And people like, huh? What? Yeah, that's why. It's apathy. Yeah, I know it takes a little longer. Maybe you got to look up another place or whatever, but we got to do it, man. And we wondering why, we always had these higher expectations for black owned businesses. That's just like with United Bank in Philly. I was like, man, their customer service is shoddy as hell, but I'm going to still ride with them because I understand what it is. And so when you don't get the support of your community and you don't have the money to put in place the policies, procedures, or people that you need to run a smooth business, why you scratching your head? Our apathy is part of the reason why the business isn't successful, because we're not supporting it. Now, I'm not saying just go support a black business because it's black. If the business is a horrible business and they don't do what they say they're going to do, I get that. But there are a lot of businesses that are trying to start and transition and become great businesses. No business starts out as a great business. I don't care if it's a Fortune 500 company. Do you know how many lawsuits McDonald's has against it each year? Do you know how many lawsuits all of these other major companies have? Boeing and all these other companies. Matter of fact, with the planes going down. So no company is perfect. So don't expect a black-owned business to be perfect either. So today's show topic, family, do you really understand the importance of black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? And once again, the 4 components, I'm just going to rehash real quick. 4 components we need to focus on. Number 1, and the keystone, economics. We need to create an economic power base, build our own base, support our own businesses, create independence. So when you have independence, you can do or say what you need to further your agenda along. When you're trying to run Rainbow Push Coalition and you getting money from Pfizer and all these other companies and you do something that they don't particularly care about, guess what? They're pulling their money. Now you ass out. Once again, my podcast. I just told you guys, I got 2 companies trying to sponsor my podcast. They emailed me today. I don't know, it must be a good day for me or something. But I don't take sponsorships. I'm unencumbered. I say what I want. Like today's episode. If I took money from some company, they may be offended by what I say. But I'm talking to my people. This is a private conversation between me and the BEB family. And in my private conversation, I'm going to say exactly what I want to say. So once again, independence, creating the economic power base is the key to everything. And you better recognize that, guys. Recognize and understand that. So supporting black businesses isn't just, we're going to support black businesses. There's a reason to support black businesses. There's a reason to start black businesses. Economic power base. Every other ethnicity has it. And you wonder why when people get in office and they're doing things for other people, the LGBTQ community, they got a power base. The Jewish community, the white Anglo-Saxons, they have a power base. They have political action committees. They donate. We sit back and we're spectators in the political game. We're sitting there and we don't know where it's going. It's like sitting on a rudderless boat. Oh, where are we going? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, because we're being passive. We need to be proactive. So number 1, and we're talking about, do you really understand the importance of black entrepreneurship as it pertains to the future? The 4 components needed to focus on. Number 1, economics, independence, do for self, self-fund, stop being beholden to everybody else. Component number 2, politics. Politics controls policy. Politics controls policy. There's some of us that are listening to this episode who may have a family member sitting up in prison because of policy. So everybody that says, I don't vote because it doesn't make a difference, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I think that's garbage, especially when it comes to the local and state level. I understand oh, whoever's in the White House, that's not going to affect me. But the politics on your local and state level, you want your taxes to keep going up? Okay. Sit down and don't vote. You want gentrification to wipe you out of your neighborhood? Like I said, your grandma been in her house 40 years and now she has to leave because the tax base went up. Go ahead and don't vote. Okay? Oh, you want your school not to have computers for your kids? Not be safe? Okay. Go ahead and sit there. Don't vote and see what happens. Man, come on. Stop playing. Component number 3, media. Once again, family, economics controls the media. You want other people to continue to control the narrative? Do you want to see us just cooning and buffooning on TV and movies? Is that all we can do? We can play sports and entertain? Coon and buffoon? Is that it? Is that all we're made up of? No. But once again, we don't control the media. Man, this is getting ridiculous. So we got to start supporting Black-owned media. We have to create new media platforms. Everybody talks about Black Twitter, right? Now, I'm not a technical guy, but can somebody, some brother or sister somewhere create our own Black Twitter instead of being on somebody else's platform? And you see, even though those are social media platforms, you can still get shut down. So Alex Jones, I forgot the name of his show. It's like a conspiracy theorist guy, whatever. He got shut down off of all social media platforms. Ass out. Okay? Because you're still on somebody else's platform. So we need to start creating our own platforms. That's component number 3, media, and component number 4, education. If you're not happy with your kids' education, guess what? Then you fill in the gaps. Stop complaining about these overworked, underpaid teachers that are barely making it in our neighborhoods, and you mad because your kid only learned about Barack Obama and Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. That's your job. That's your job. Whatever the school doesn't give your kid, you need to fill in. Don't depend on the school to educate your child. Yeah, I know that's what the school is for, but once again, it's apathy. It's not taking initiative. Go get some books on Black history or whatever you think your kid needs to hear. They definitely need to know about Black history because they have to know what their worth is, their value. If you let them sit there and go through the educational system and you see what's going on, their self-worth, unless we show it to them at home, is not going to be that of other ethnicities. So when they see about, the Declaration of Independence, white folks did this, they did that, they discovered America. Yeah, right. But that's all that's given and fed to them in these educational systems. So it's our job as parents to make sure that you don't leave the total education of your child to yourself. And stop blaming the teachers. Yeah, there's bad teachers, there's bad employees all over. But they're underpaid and overworked. Especially in a lot of these inner city schools, you got 35 and 40 kids in the classroom, and there's really no way that you can really get to and effectively teach these kids. All right. Once again, we got to stop waiting on other people to handle our own business. All right. Also, we have a large amount of and it's unfortunate, brothers and sisters coming out of the prison system. We got to find a way to get them back into society. And once again, family, we can't wait for somebody else to start this program that's funded by the state or the city. And when the city runs out of money because we sat on our asses and didn't vote the right people in, and they cut that budget, and now the brothers and sisters that really need this program to get back on their feet are ass out. Apathy. We have to be proactive, family. We have to be proactive. Today's show topic: do you really understand the importance of Black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? And I went in a little bit, but I needed to, because this thing is getting out of hand. It's getting ridiculous. Step up. Even if you're don't have a business, man, find a Black business to support. My God, we'll go all out of our way to do something else. You know, like I said, I was in Mississippi when I was speaking, We'll go on our phone in church looking at the score of the NFL game or the NBA game, right? But we'll be on Facebook, we'll be on Twitter, we'll be on Instagram, doing all kind of stuff, entertainment. Instead of saying, you know what, next time I want to buy a shirt, let me see if I can find a black-owned business. You know, and once again, we all shop on the internet. Everybody's on Amazon, okay? So you don't have to find a local black-owned business. You can find a black-owned business somewhere else and shop via e-commerce. So that's today's show, family. And before we close out, once again, each and every week, and I say it because I mean it, we got more and more downloads, and that's attributed all to the BEB family. Guys, please continue to spread this good word via social media, word of mouth, or whatever. We're trying to keep this thing going, and we're trying to make a change. We're trying to make a difference. You know, and I told this story before on one of the episodes. We're up to 250 now, so sometimes these episodes run together. So one of my favorite aunts, my uncle, had passed away, and my aunt and I were talking. And I said, well, what was, I said, Aunt Betty, I said, what was Uncle Juan's last words? She looked at me and she said, his exact words were, did I contribute? He said it twice. Did I contribute? I need you guys to contribute. I need to contribute. Whatever you're supposed to contribute to this world, whatever you're supposed to contribute to this black family, do it. Do it. That's it. Stop making excuses. Stop being apathetic. Contribute. Whatever your contribution is. If you don't have the money to shop at a black business, share black business contact information with your friends. A sister shot me on Instagram. My money is tight. I can't really do a lot of shopping right now. I understand. She said, but what I do is I share all of the black businesses I know with my social media and people that I know. So that's doing something. That's contributing. So it doesn't have to be starting a peace march, you know, down by the Lincoln Memorial. It could be something as simple as that. But we need to start being cognizant of where we spend our money. And we need to understand why we need to spend our money with our people. And that's to build an economic power base. So once again, family, please continue to spread the word about Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, the podcast and the blog. For anybody that needs to connect, please connect with me on social media. If you need to connect via Facebook, just go to Facebook, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. If you have anything long, right, you can shoot me an email at jjones@blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. That's JAYJONES at blackentrepreneurblueprint.com. Twitter, jjones001, JAYJONES001. Instagram, jjonesforreal, JAYJONES, 4, REAL. YouTube, please subscribe to my YouTube channel because I have different content or additional content on YouTube. So just go to YouTube, search for Black Entrepreneur Blueprint and hit subscribe. LinkedIn, go look for J Jones, Black Entrepreneur Blueprint. And if you want to be included in the BEB text line for notifications and reminders about special events, go to text BEB, like Black Entrepreneur Blueprint, BEB to 555-888. BEB to 555-888. Once again, family, I'm going to close with this. Do you really understand the importance of black entrepreneurship as it pertains to our future? Did I contribute? Ask yourself that. Did I contribute? Love you guys. I'll see you same time next week. Peace.